Hey, so we asked ChatGPT to rank Kansas City's top neighborhoods, and we were shocked at what it came up with.
Yep, for a robot, it knows a thing or two.
Not bad.
Hey guys, it's Max and Zach here, and we're gonna go over the top 10 neighborhoods according to ChatGPT in Kansas City.
I'll admit I was pretty surprised what ChatGPT came up with as the top cities. I think you probably will too. But hey, if you don't mind, before we get into this video, comment down below and let me know what you think it's gonna pick. And we'll get started right now. Number 10 was the Rivermarket. Now, the Rivermarket is a pretty cool area. I wouldn't say it was on the top 10 list, but ChatGPT did, so here we are. It's a fun spot. It's right down there in the center of Kansas City on the north edge of downtown Kansas City, and it's a nice, quaint little place full of condos, apartment buildings, and what I think it's kind of known for is the outdoor market. So especially in the summer months, the spring and the fall, there's going to be a farmer's market down there where everybody from the city comes down to a nice outdoor market. You can walk around. There's lots of restaurants. There's some fun things to do. Casey Taco, one of my favorite taco shops, is down there. And it's also a great place to take the kids not only for a little bite to eat, but then we'll go right on down to the ice cream shop just down the street. And there is even a cool little promenade. You can walk right out over the river. You'll see like everybody's put like their locks and written like I love JD and clipped it on there, or whoever they love, all over the thing. It's mostly young professional people or people that are just getting started, a lot of singles that are hanging out down there. It's also where Kansas City streetcar starts, which is totally free transportation that Kansas City did several years ago. That'll run you anywhere from the Rivermarket, has several stops on the way as it goes all the way down towards the Kansas City Power and Light District.
A couple of my favorite places in Rivermarket are Harry's, a really cool little bar. There's also the Blue Line, which is it's a hockey bar, cool little place to go. They have amazing tacos. And then Brown and Low is another restaurant that a friend of mine owns.
Brown and Low was, I think, one of the first banks in Kansas City. Cool, I didn't know you had a friend that owned it.
Yep, a lot of history down there. Ranked number 9 by the ChatGPT AI software is the Crossroads. The Crossroads is actually the end of this where the streetcar goes downtown. It'll go from the Rivermarket clear south of the Crossroads. And Crossroads sits right north of Union Station, what's known as the Arts District of Kansas City. It's a happening little area, 0 single family homes in the Crossroads. You do have a bunch of condos, tons of apartments. We don't sell apartments or work with renters, but we do work with people that want to buy condos. You have to be really careful buying a condo. There's a lot to it because you're basically buying into a co-op. And you have to make sure that the homes association is well managed. But a couple of awesome places down there are the Kaufman Center for Performing Arts. It's kind of the anchor of the Crossroads. There are a few really amazing restaurants down there. My favorite place is Corvino. We did a vlog on the Crossroads and I go into a little more detail, but Corvino is an amazing place to have both the supper club and the tasting room. And if you want a 5-star dining experience, then the Crossroads and Corvino is the place to be.
All right, what do we got for number 8? We have North Kansas City. North Kansas City, it is located just north of downtown Kansas City, just across the river. It's a cool little spot. It started out as kind of an industrial zone. So there's lots of like train tracks that run through and little buildings, like 2-3 story buildings, kind of industrial. But it's kind of had a shift here recently. There is still plenty of that, but now it's kind of becoming an entertainment district. So it's like home to Chicken and Pickle, for instance, and a couple other nice little bars. It's a real walkable area. You get Cinder Block Brewery, all kinds of fun stuff to do. It's definitely kind of a weekend for the people that live in the Northland. A sweet little weekend, a hot spot to go down there, meet your friends, do some activities that may involve drinking, eating, or outdoor music events. There's also a rock climbing gym and all kinds of fun stuff, Mackin Park.
Oh yeah.
There is plenty of housing there. There's lots of rentals. There's also houses you can own, but most of that's going to be up the hill a little bit because you are kind of down there close to kind of that floodplain. So you just got to be careful buying real estate or buying residential real estate down there because there is some of that is in a floodplain, some of it's not. So you just got to know what you're getting into. And something we just learned from one of our clients is that they provide free internet and I think free trash. So by having as a resident, North Kansas City address, if you buy a house down there, you're going to have free high-speed internet and free trash.
My favorite burger joint, Tay's Burger Shack, is in Northtown.
Also is that little food truck court.
Yes, on the Iron District.
Yeah.
We can move on to our number 7. ChatGPT's number 7 neighborhood for Kansas City is Hyde Park. When you check out the map in Hyde Park, you'll see that it is down kind of near Westport, which is another entertainment area for Kansas City. Kind of surprises me to see it on the list. I do think that there is some cool stuff about it. It's a historic neighborhood that has a bunch of 2-stories that are, I think they're built in like the 30s. Kind of has that mid-century modern architecture to it. It's a charming little walkable neighborhood, but it is adjacent to a higher crime area. I mean, it's just a couple blocks off of Paseo and over on 71 Highway. Not the best area, and maybe an up-and-coming area. Maybe a good place to invest and expect some appreciation in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I just don't think of it. I know there's people who live down there with families. I know people who live down there with families, but when I think of it, it doesn't feel the safest, like you said. I mean, we've got number 6. It throws in Overland Park. Now, personally, I would say Overland Park, and in fact, in some magazines, it's rated as the number 1 cities. Like to raise a family, we'll vote at the number 1 cities to live in is Overland Park, Kansas. And we've got ChatGPT has this as number 6. It is a great spot. It's a little on the expensive side. Homes probably in that $450 range plus is where you're going to go to find something decent and turnkey. It is the largest suburb of Kansas City with over 200,000 people and over 75 square miles, but has one of the best school districts. So although it is expensive and you pay a little more to live there, and it's busy because everybody wants to be there, and that's why it's the biggest, they do have an amazing school system. It's one of the most sought after in the whole Kansas City area, whether you're in Kansas City, Kansas, or Missouri. And in fact, in the whole state of Kansas, it ranks as number 1. So a really great spot. In my mind, depending on how busy you want your neighborhood and your suburb to be, there's a lot of reasons I would put this number 1 on my list, but ChatGPT, has a mind of its own, so number 6.
There's hundreds of neighborhoods within Overland Park, so it is a city in of itself.
If you live in the north side of Overland Park, you are only probably 15 minutes to downtown Kansas City, depending on how far into Overland Park you are. Since it's the most densely populated suburb of Kansas City, that means more traffic. So you are going to have to fight a little traffic in those rush hours. I-35, if you're taking that into downtown, it's one of the busiest roads in Kansas City going in and out of downtown in rush hour, and that's going to be your main drag to get there.
All right, now that we've gone through the bottom 5, we're going to go through the top 5. But before we do, just a reminder that we do these videos completely for free. We just want to support you, be there for you, provide some information. So if you like what you hear, you don't mind hitting the bell notification, subscribing, and doing all that stuff, we would greatly appreciate it. If you're thinking about moving to the area, you probably are if you're watching this video, feel free to give us a call. We would love to work with you. If you don't already have a real estate agent, we would love to be a resource for you. You can give us a call anytime. And let's get back to the video.
Number 5 is Lee's Summit. And I would have to agree, it's probably right in there at number 5. Lee's Summit is what we like to call the land of lakes. There's lots of lakes around Lee's Summit. It's a up-and-coming area where they are continuing to build new stuff. Lots of park, acres and acres of parks, acres and acres of lakes. Big lakes, small lakes, big boats, ski boats, all that kind of stuff. You can live on it, you can swim in it, you can canoe on it. But anyway, it's a great spot with great school districts. It's on the southeast side of Kansas City, and it's in Kansas City, Missouri. So since it is Lee Summit, it's its own suburb, you don't have to pay the e-tax, which is kind of nice. And you're looking at probably 20, 30 minutes getting right into the heart of downtown. Probably the biggest con is if you're going to the airport or traveling a lot, it's at the exact opposite corner of the city. So you're probably 45 minutes to the airport, but we do have this cool highway called 435 that circumvents the whole city. Traffic goes all the way around, and it just so happens that runs right by Lee Summit. You can hop on that and just cruise right on up there. Probably in that $350 to $450 price point for a nice house over there, so a little bit above the average price, but all in all, it's a great spot.
ChatGPT says that Prairie Village is the number 4 neighborhood in Kansas City, and I'll have to agree, it's got to be right up there. It is an amazing place, south side of Kansas City, just inside the state line. It's in Kansas. It is a beautiful area, big mature trees. But one of the things that's going on in Prairie Village right now is a lot of people are taking the $250,000, $300,000 little ranch, 1-car, 2-3 bedroom ranches, tearing them down, and they're building $1 million brand new construction homes. There aren't any more lots available in Prairie Village, and it's a really desirable area. So we see that a ton. Next, we have Waldo. Waldo is really close to Prairie Village, actually, but on the Missouri side. So you have the plaza, and then you have Brookside, you have Waldo. It's kind of a really nice area in Kansas City. Older homes, very walkable, kind of young professionals, very artsy, and they have a place called Waldo Pizza that I really like to grab to go in and grab.
Yeah, they got a nice little shopping area too, and they do a First Fridays kind of artsy thing, and yeah, it's always fun to go down there and hang out for an afternoon.
Old homes built in the 30s. They all have stone basements. They all have like little sloped roofs. They're called Tudors. And Tudors, hey.
They're like little Smurf Hobbit houses, kind of.
Yeah, it does kind of remind you of the like Lord of the Rings, where the hobbits live.
Waldo almost sounds like the name of a hobbit.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's something to that.
It's a charming little area. I think the con is that the traffic's a nightmare. It's hard to kind of get around. I mean, it's a walkable area, so a lot of people just take the sidewalks and walk. It has a lot of walking trails and that sort of thing, but no backyards to speak of. You know, a lot of families, they want a big yard for the kids to play in, and it's not really the ideal for that.
Yeah, and you know, the 30s, when they laid out the streets, a family probably had one car if they even had that, so you got a lot of one cars. No, there's not enough room for all the cars everybody has nowadays. There's a lot of street parking, and then the streets really are wide enough to accommodate street parking plus 2 lanes of traffic, so there's a lot of that bobbing and weaving until you get out on the main roads. All right, what do we got next? West Plaza. So I do like the plaza area itself. I wouldn't say the West Plaza should be up here at number 2, but the plaza is cool. It's Kansas City's most premier shopping district. It was the first drive-to outdoor mall in the U.S. So they're very forward thinking. They keep it really nice. It's super clean. It's a great area. But then there's a lot of housing around it, not really single family housing, but a lot of condos, high rises, apartment buildings. So it's kind of that, it's super walkable. But when you have a hot spot like that, it can have higher crimes. You will hear about crime down there after hours, like late during the day and all that stuff. You know, it's fine. Kids are holding your kids' hands walking around. As it gets later into those late evening hours, you know, after 11, 12 o'clock, the crime rate just picks up a bit because it attracts a lot of people. So the West Plaza, the sky's the limit on pricing over there. You can find stuff for $450, you can go all the way to $1 million. It's a mix of a lot of single people and young professionals who want to be close to the action, people that don't want to cook food because you got all these restaurants down there and some, 5-star eateries. So kind of a hustling place that draws everybody into the city for that 5-star dining and entertainment experience.
It's very walkable to both the plaza and to Westport. So Westport's kind of like your bar scene and the plaza is your uppity shopping mecca. It's more like petty theft, like, you don't want to leave any valuables in your car and that sort of thing. No violent crime necessarily, but just annoying crime. Gosh dang, we're down to number 1.
I know.
Drum roll fast. Number 1, according to ChatGPT, I might have beg to differ, but I do like the area. It's called Brookside, and it is just north of Waldo. So Brookside, Waldo are kind of synonymous to me. Now, the people that live in either Brookside or Waldo, will tell you all the differences, but they're kind of one and the same to me. Brookside is sandwiched between the plaza and Waldo. A couple of things I really like about it. There is what's called Brookside Boulevard, and it has a bike trail that runs all the way up and down it that is just awesome. You see people out there running all the time. On the very north side of Brookside is Luce Park, which is kind of analogous to a Central Park or New York. It's a huge park, not surrounded by skyscrapers, but in that kind of area where it's a very commercialized area, but they've stamped out a huge area for nature because nature is important, and it's really charming park where people will be setting up picnics and laying around reading books and throwing the frisbee. So I lived in New York for a while and lived in Brooklyn, and it kind of reminds me of that vibe of, you're in a city center, and it's very similar to Waldo where you have older homes, small yards, little detached garages, very high prices, and foundation problems. It's not my kind of place, but I can see why it made ChatGPT's list because it has a lot of charm and a lot of people really love it here in Kansas City. Mm-hmm. In conclusion, I would say it's amazing technology, but I don't think it's a substitute for boots on the ground. And we would love to be those boots for you guys. Zach and I were born and raised here, and we know the town inside and out, and we would love to be a resource for you. So please pick up the phone, give us a call. If you're not comfortable doing that, you can drop a comment or shoot us an email. If you check us out online, we have over 650 Google reviews. So do your due diligence on us, and you can see what our clients have to say about us. But we would love to hear from you. Anything else, Zach?
Yeah, if you enjoyed this video, then you're absolutely gonna love this series where we're touring some of the top neighborhoods that Kansas City has to offer, just like Brookside. And a lot of the ones we talked about. We're walking down the streets, showing you the houses, showing you what they look like on the inside. Amazing. So why don't you go ahead and click on that, and we'll see you over there.